ways you have right now, Brian?
Mostly the scheduling stuff. I really like how you mentioned kind of those prime times for door knocking. I didn't really expect it to be during those times, but it
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Steven, what about you?
Mine would probably be I was surprised this year not to like sell the damage as much.
Okay. All right. I'm down with it. And let me shut this door here.
I'm about to go out. I should have.
What's that?
I'm gonna get out. I should have.
Oh, okay. So, what about the rest of the room? So, start with you, Christian.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
What's your biggest takeaway right now? Whether it's something that you want to know more of, what you learned the most, like right now out of the 2 days, what have you taken away more than anything?
One thing I'm most intrigued about is closing the deal, or because I mean, getting on roofs and taking photos. That's one of the things my old employer. He's like, he could clearly see that getting on the roof and taking photos and finding damage, that wasn't the issue. It was just sealing the deal. I probably had 8 or 9, I don't know how many roofs that I just was like, I was super passive. I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for the deal. I kind of just like, here's all my information. I wrote all this up, discuss it with your wife. If you want to do it, great. Give me a call. It was probably over the double digits how many roofs that I had that I found. So like getting more information, learning how to close the deal.
Okay.
That's like, that was my biggest weakness.
Okay.
When it came to this.
Gunner?
I never heard the question. I guess I was going to say.
What's your biggest takeaway so far?
Probably, like I told you at lunch, the scheduling.
You like scheduling as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I strive to be somebody that is very on top of their life, and not only that, somebody that can lead others. And even if that one other person is my wife or future wife, that is my ultimate goal. So.
Okay. I like it. That was the same as Steven's. All right. So we got 2 of them on that. Callie?
Like take away like something that we've learned from all of it.
Learned or biggest question, whatever.
Not the biggest question. I think for me, my biggest thing that I've noticed I like about the company is that you guys aren't cutthroat. Like you're not, like you including scripture and the fact that you're trying to teach us to not make somebody do something in a sense.
Right.
You're actually helping people. Your goal is to help them, not just take their money.
It's true. Is it an accurate statement? All right.
After being in the sales business, just looking at some of the ways that we're going about things, it's definitely different. I can tell, like along the lines of what she said. I mean, everything's different, and I'm not I don't live on a schedule or anything. I'm probably one of the least amount scheduled person there is in here.
Okay.
But I think that's something definitely that I'll get to work on and do better. Like I don't have a problem getting in front of somebody and selling them something, having a conversation, building a relationship with somebody. But, as far as the scheduling goes, I think that's something that I get to work towards.
Okay.
Better at. So.
Okay. I like it. So the way we're going to wrap this up, I'm going to go through a few more of the selling or the ways to go about different parts of selling throughout the process and how to do it. And then tomorrow is going to be implementing it big time. So we're going to do a lot of role playing tomorrow, which is the most awkward thing in the world. And I absolutely hate it.
It was fun.
But I just like some people like Josh, who just left, our media guy, best role player you've ever seen in your life. Like I'm the worst. Like, so when when I first had to role play, so like with Josh and we're doing like a knock on the door, he like just kept shutting the door on me. He's like, this is not good. Like Josh was heartless with it. He's like, if he's going to treat it like like he's not going to be nice and let you go through. He's like, nope. No, I bet I'd try again. He'd go, nope. Like I hate it so much. I'm better in real life and role playing. I hate it. So anyways, but tomorrow we're going to dive down in there are areas that I've gone over, but it's the 2 areas that folks miss all the time. So, but we're going to polish up with the rest of it here so that tomorrow's going to be a lot of that role playing, as well as I'm going to be real specific and clear on what your pay is as far as the training portion of it and what it's going to look like to start getting paid. Because to like Christian's point, and we were this way at one point, well, we've always paid people, but in this industry, typically it's, the way you get paid is you have to sell the job, build the job, get full payment, final, everything's done, and then you get paid. That's a pretty lengthy process. So there, like for me, when I started out, even though I literally made a cash deal sale day 1, it was 51 days before I got paid. And like, I knew that going in, but like, that sucks. Like, so Josh was constantly like, you're doing great. You're doing great. I'm like, don't think I am, buddy. Pocketbook feels a little empty, right? So the fact that we now have advancements and, targets that you can hit to get paid right now in the immediate is something that's super beneficial. And I want you guys to really know what that is so that you can go after it and get it. Okay. So I'm gonna.
That was probably another thing I'd like to add on to was in the interview, the goals that you stated that we were able to hit and able to set for ourselves, or it was goals that y'all set for us, but it's goals for us to hit. So, I mean, I'm all about, like I said, striving to be the best person that I can be. And the fact that y'all have preset goals for us speaks huge.
It's organized and very,
yeah, man, like I said, so, what we strive for here, and it's in all of our paperwork, it's in all of our contracts, is, that what we are and what we want to be is improving lives. So like everybody's got their catchphrase or the thing about them or whatever, and it sounds kind of kitschy corny, right? But like just through what this company has done for me, I know it to be true. And now I am extremely blessed to be in the position that I'm in, that I just want to take all those things that were done for me and to give them to as many people as I can. Now, a lot of the guys that are with us, like they want to take some of these things, some want to take, some don't want to take it. Our kickoff party this year, Josh paid a massive amount of money to come have someone come in and literally just help with life things. So it's actually a mentor that Josh and I use, and it's a program that Josh and I both pay for. And Josh is actually a coach in, but to have Travis come in is a huge chunk of change. And the entire thing that Travis talked about had nothing to do with the company or how to make us, like it was literally for the people in that room. Like it was personally to help all the people in that room. And I don't know of another company that would have spent that kind of money for that. And that's in the road to 6 figures. So on the trainings that you're going to be able to see that. And like, that's literally and that's why it's on the first part. So literally the first parts you're going to go through on the trainings have nothing to do with our business at all. So I'm glad that some of you have that takeaway, because that, to me, so to be honest, I did what I did for a very long period of time, and I was pretty darn good at it. Lord literally had to, he told me, you're going to go do roofing sales. And I literally argued with him for a while. I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to go to roofing sales, whatever. And I went to looking around at companies, and I had a conversation with a couple of companies. Like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good. And like the second I was here, I was like, oh, this is okay. I get it. Right. Like I was like, okay, this place is the reason you call me into roofing. And then it was a long time before I figured out the real call for it. Right. The first 6 months for me was not easy. It was not good. I was not having fun. It was not a good thing. And if it wasn't for this company, I definitely would have missed all of that, like without a shadow of a doubt. So What did you say? Something? One of you said something on the call just a second ago, I think. Nope. Okay.
I was just saying he's really good, Travis.
Oh, okay. So you've watched some of that? Yep. Yeah. Travis is solid, man.
I watched them a couple times. I even downloaded his slides.
Awesome.
Really good information.
Yeah, Travis is solid. When you guys, like I said, when you start to see his stuff, if you implement what Travis teaches you, you're the money he's a force multiplier. Like you're just going to make more money. He is a phenomenal man. All of his stuff is 100% word based. He's awesome. So, but let's dive into it, finish up the rest of it. So, I like to know where you guys are at. If there's anything you guys have questions on, like I love to help you guys personally. Like whether it's, you want help with scheduling, whatever it is, like I love helping because I needed those things done for me. And my job is to be that for whoever wants me to be that, right? So I can't force you to do it. A saying that I use, I think it's my saying, I can pull a rope, but I can't push a rope. So, and I'll pull all day long. So something real big that you need to do in selling is questioning. The better your questions, the better your conversation. So your questions need to be very on purpose. And the big mistake that most people make in human nature, and especially in a sales role, is the one asking questions is the one in charge, not who's talking the most. You notice the salespeople typically, if they are a little bit insecure, they don't feel good about what they're doing, they just start word vomiting because it's like they just want to talk and talk and talk and talk because like they feel a no coming and they don't want to absorb that no, so they just talk and talk and talk, and like that's actually what hurts you. The person in control is not the person that's talking the most, the person that's asking the questions, period. So the goal, in my opinion, is 90% of the talking needs to be the homeowner, 10% you. Most things will probably tell you significantly more, probably like 70% them, 30% you'd be like, I think it needs to be significantly more them, because the more they talk, the better your questions are, you will know them. Yes.
You ever talk yourself out of a sale?
100%.
I was gonna say I've done that plenty of times. Like, I should just shut the hell up.
So perfect example. So you guys, most people would not want to sell to me or Josh. We are very difficult to sell to, but very easy in the same hand. Like if we come to you, we probably already know what we want. Shut up and get out of the way. So he recently just got a car for his daughter for her 16th birthday. And since I come from the car world, he's like, hey, do you know anybody? I'm like, sure. Here's who you go to. Like, here's what I'll tell you. He's a phenomenal person. I love him as a human being. He is a horrible salesperson. So be aware of that. So the bonus is you'll be able to work him over real good for a deal. So Josh goes in there and Josh literally tells him, this is going to be the easiest sell you've ever made. That's the car I want. Here's the money. I just want to sign and go. Literally what Josh says. And good old Joe, he's like, all right, well, you got to check out this feature. Josh was like, I don't care. I'm not the one driving it. For my daughter, that's the car. Here's the money. Give me paperwork. And like and Joe just kept like, and yes, so you will talk yourself out of a sale. I've seen many people talk themselves out of a sale. The reason I know Joe is because he used to sell for me back when I was in the automotive industry. And I used to constantly tell him, shut up. And he used to constantly lose sales because he wouldn't shut up. So anyways, that's the bonus about me being up here. I don't have to shut up. So I get to talk. I get to be me. So, but you need to get really good at asking questions. What I tell everybody, you need to have 10 go-to questions at all times. So starting right now today, you need to write down questions. You need to have questions where if you get jammed up, you get slowed down, you can't think of what to say, these questions just come out of your mouth. These questions need to be related. They need to be questions that come from you. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? But remember when I told you guys that you should be able to put together 3 options for the homeowner that like legitimately fit them? If you're asking the right questions, you're actually going to know what the homeowner needs and uses and benefits. Because if you're doing all the things that we've taught properly, if you've really looked at the house, you've really looked at the inspection sheets, you know or should know what is actually needed. I'm not here just to sell something for a check. I'm here to sell what's needed. If what you need costs me $500 versus what I could sell you, I don't care. I'd rather you have what you need. Because if you have what you need, if you're really smart, that's what gets you referrals. That's what makes you more money. I'm not worried about the one sale. I'm worried about all the sales and all the people that you know. Okay? So you need to learn to ask good questions. They will teach you pressure points. So have any of you ever been to a doctor that was a bad doctor? Have you ever been to that doctor? Probably sucked at figuring out what's wrong. Like if you ever had you go to a doctor, hey man, my stomach hurts. And he's like, yeah, here's this. Like, bro, can you ask me some questions? Like, what's the pain on a scale that, is it like, can you freaking ask me some questions? So in the automotive world that I come from, you have to be very good at asking questions to find out what the problem with their car is. And the mechanics, there's certain sales guys that they liked because they asked good questions, which actually allowed the mechanics to make a proper diagnosis. And I got tired of having to pick up the phone and call people, hey, so how about this? Like, I was always having to do that. But versus if you ask good questions up front, you'll almost know the problem before you even hand it to the mechanic. Same situation here. You need to ask good questions to make appropriate decisions. So like when you're giving someone options and you offer them a class 4 shingle, which gives you a discount with some insurance companies, you should know which insurance companies you get discounts for. Because if they're with a company that doesn't get discounts for it, then you shouldn't recommend it to them, in my opinion, which as we discovered means correct. So why do you need to lead your homeowner? You need to lead your homeowner because you do this all day, every day. They don't. This is the first time for them. They don't know what's happening. It's scary to them. So the way you need to think about your interactions with your homeowner, the way I like to think about it, if your homeowner was to go out to dinner with their friends and roofing comes up, how does that conversation look like? So let me tell you what it looks like with most sales interactions, okay? Most sales interactions, I sit down, you and my wife, Kathy, are having a good talk, and you're like, hey, we actually having a roof done. And we go, oh, cool, we just had a roof put on. Okay, versus, actually, we just had a roof put on. Dalen helped us out. He did this. Like, what's the conversation look like? Did they just simply have a roof done? Or, man, he did this here. He got up on my roof. He sent me all my photos. He fought for the insurance company. He talked to me every 2 days, let me know what was going on. Like, what do you think's then's going to happen? My wife and I are going to go, can I get his number? That sounds way better than the guy I'm talking to. What does your conversation look like? If you're asking good questions, you're truly leading them, they're going to have a conversation about you. They're not going to have a conversation about the roof. So if you're treating this like a commodity sale, then your homeowner is going to walk away with a commodity product. They need to walk away with you as their product. I hope at the end of the day, they barely know who you work for and that they have no clue the manufacturer of their shingle or barely even the color of their shingle. I hope all they know is you, and in a good way. Okay? Because if it's in a bad way, in all honesty, the bad, that's when they remember first priority. If it's good, they remember you. If it's bad, they remember first priority. Like, seriously. When you tell someone you had a bad experience at Olive Garden, is it, boy, Sandy was the worst waitress? No, it's like, man, Olive Garden freaking sucked. It's like, yeah, so we're aware of that. Bad means first priority. Good means you. So I hope nobody knows first priority, right? Sorry about that, Josh. So if you're asking good questions, you need some good questions for examples. Here's Here are some of those good questions. When picking a contractor, what is most important to you? And I should really put this last to like, because it's the best question I have. Like, this is the pow, but like it's the killer. But I know by the time I get down to here, you're not really going to be paying attention. So that's why I put it up front. So where is this useful? Let's say that you're dealing with another roofing contractor that they're looking at. And they're like, all right, I'm going to look at a couple. Cool. Makes sense. If you don't mind my asking, when picking a contractor, what's most important? And I don't know if you noticed there, like I talked about earlier, when you get an objection, rather than thinking about the best way to overcome it, what I'd like you to start doing is dissecting why you got that objection in the first place. Okay? However, let's say you're in the moment, you get an objection. The best way to handle an objection is absolutely, I understand that, and then go on. If you miss that part, so let's say they say, I want to take some other bids, or like, I'm looking between you and another. When you're picking a contractor, what's most important to you? Versus, hey, that makes sense. I totally get it. It's a lot of money. If you don't mind my asking. One way seems like I'm being the defensive sales guy. The other way seems like, makes sense. Because you do need to understand where they're at. Like, whether it's insurance spending the money or them spending the money, on average, homeowners are spending $17,000 for a roof. Like, that's a lot of money, right? So like my buddy who just had somebody smash into his 2019 Grand Sport Corvette, like it's an $80,000 car, insurance is paying for it. You don't think he was extremely concerned with who he took it to? It's taken him 9 months to find the shop he wants to take it to, and he's on a 7-month waiting list now. Right? And it's just a little bit of bumper damage. It's not like severe damage, but it's like he cares about that. Just because it's paid for doesn't mean he's just going to go willy-nilly on it, right? And that's what you guys need to think of. Acknowledge that. Don't be like, I want a commission check. Like, acknowledge where they're at. Acknowledge where they're at. If you don't, it comes across as defensive. So, a good question to ask. Do you have any questions? And this one sometimes this is exactly how some of my conversations have gone with homeowners. Christian,
Yes, sir.
Listen, I can tell you want to say something or ask something. What?
I heard some things. It's not good.
Yes. I do have a 40-inch vertical. I run a 4.33. Is that what you're like? Those are both accurate. Now, the bad things, no, completely inaccurate. Those are made up. It's an ex-girlfriend. So, nonetheless, you legit need to pull them out of them, okay? A good question. Does that make sense? Have you guys heard me ask any of these since you've been here? Absolutely. Okay. When we do the roof, notice I'm saying that I'm doing your roof. You don't like naturally to get into conflict. So I'm making you avoid conflict. Is there a color that you would like? So again, these are just good ringer questions. Okay. Some of these I've stolen from other guys. Some of them I've created on my own. Some of them I stole and just made better because, that's what I do. Does this all make sense? So legit start coming up with some questions, and you will notice like the questions you have for your first couple weeks are going to be completely different than the questions you're going to have 30 days from now. But they need to be your questions unless you guys can like legit, truly like just slingshot, hip shoot these things, because these are the fallback. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't have an answer to this objection. So if you guys remember when I talked about earlier on, if you're failing in the inspection section and you're getting a bunch of no's, but they're all different no's, this is what you're not good at. This is the part that you're not good at. So have those. But it was a guy who trained me who said you need to have 10 things written down. And he kept telling me. And then when I actually wrote them down, I used them as go-to questions. And they really sucked at first, but it was better than not having any. And my questions got better as I went on. We'll get to that here in a minute. So, selling out the doors. Okay. All the stuff I'm about to go over, this applies to door knocking mainly, but also leads. Okay. Because as we've discovered, you need to treat every door exactly the same. Just because they're a lead, you still have to develop a relationship out of thin air. Don't assume, oh, it's a lead. That means they're just waiting to hand me money. No, they are not. They actually want to hand you money even less than a door you just knocked on cold. Okay? Oops. Learn the thumbs. So, slap. Yes, see? Look at me. I'm still cool and hip. You guys are all relating to this slide. See, it's the fact that I get real good laughs at this slide lets me know how bad all my other ones are and how out of touch I am. But I'm glad I at least learned at a church function that Netflix and chill is not what I thought it was. A couple of them, right? Yeah, sucks. So SLAP, again, I hate acronyms, but this is a good acronym, okay? Say hello, let them know why you're there, ask an open-ended question like any of these, right? Present the answer. So you'll go back and forth on these several times. Like when you ask a question and they answer you, respond accordingly. Don't go, excuse me, sir, I have another question to ask. Like something that I see guys mess up all the time. Like one of the questions that I used to ask all the time is, do you know about how old your roof is? And inevitably, you'll get an answer something similar to this. Actually, I'm not really sure. We just moved here about a year ago. Okay, cool. But whoa, okay, cool. How about, really? Where'd you move from? Yeah. Like you're just having a conversation. You're not in a sell. You're not selling. You're having conversation. So I'll go door knocking with guys and I'll see that one get missed all the time. Actually, we just moved into the area, for whatever reason, and they'll just go, whoop. Sorry, I'm trying to remember my next question. I'm just going to fade around that real quick. Right? It's like, bro, be a person, be a human.
That's the easiest one to get to, or it could be one of the easiest ones to get.
Wait, because I'm going to tell you right now what's going to happen, because Thursday you're going to be out doing this. You're going to walk away from a door and you're going to be like, he asked me to, Marcus told me that was going to happen. I do it all the time. I've walked away and be like, why did I miss that freaking opening? And for the record, me personally, some guys are this way, some guys are not this way. I'm 100% this way. My first door is going to be a wreck. I mean, a wreck. So the last worst first door that I had, Josh and I actually went out to Colorado back in like September last year to go do some work. And it was first time I door knocked in a while, but it was also the first time that day. So I knock on this door and she goes, sweetest lady ever, opens the door and is like, hi, how can I help you? I was like, we do roofs. Literally is what I did and said. We do roofs. And I pointed up like that. And she goes, okay, I'm glad that your company supports your kind. No, thank you. And then Josh goes, we do roofs. And I was like, bro, I don't know what just happened. I need to recuperate. And there's been other first doors like where I did something that atrocious and they still let me up. And I'm up on the roof going, how did that work? What? I wouldn't have let me up here based off of that. Like, anyways, so that's just me. So if you're one of those cats that does really bad on their first door, you ain't the only one. Okay. But say hello, let them know why you're there, ask an open-ended question, present the answer. In other words, be a human being. Be a human being, have a conversation. If you guys want, if you're more comfortable, I also have written a script. Some people love selling off a script. I loathe it and hate it. So if you give me a script, I'm literally going to like vomit on the inside. Okay. I would rather kick puppies. If you just let me be me, cool. I'm going to screw the first one up really bad, but I'm good after that. So if you guys want a script, I can give you a script. Okay? Just remember, you're just talking. You're just having a conversation. You're not going around knocking on doors. You're not going around trying to make a sale. You're not going around trying to get an inspection. You're literally just having conversation. So remember I told you we got Brian in Utah that kills leads like you wouldn't believe, never misses. Then you got our Kansas guy, never misses a door, but they can't do the other thing, right? So our guy that out in Kansas City loves door knocking to pieces. Like I'm just going out talking to people. Just talking to people. I literally get paid to talk to people, which is true. You get to pay to talk to people standing on a roof when it's hot outside and it's steep and it's 2-story and you're scared. But hey, it is a true statement. So a big thing that, and there's different probably names for it. We actually more or less kind of stole this one. The personality types of the homeowners that you're going to come across, generally speaking, there's 3 of them. Okay. You need to know who you're talking to as quick as possible. The sooner you can establish who you're talking to, the sooner you can start making the right moves. So let's get into what I mean by that. So remember when I told you guys earlier, you can't control your buying group? I think it was yesterday I said this. And my buying group is the one I absolutely hate the most. This is the one I'm talking about. I hate owls. They're a pain in the neck to deal with. Owls are so, like, if you want to know the far opposite of what I am, it's an owl. Okay. Yet owls love the dog fire out of me. I wish they didn't, but by gosh, they do. The owls are your Starbucks drinking, Apple computer operating, Tesla driving mofos. Like if they got a Tesla or a Subaru, they're an owl. Like it's called a stereotype.
What's wrong with Apple computers?
Again, do you do Apple computer with your Starbucks and your Tesla? Okay, well then you're okay. Just a computer in itself is fine. Like I got an Apple phone, nothing wrong with that. But if I throw a Tesla with it, I'm getting a little creepy. So stereotypes work for cars. Okay. I can almost see what anybody drives and tell you who they are. Like I did it for a long time. I learned it. So except for the Mini Cooper that I didn't know existed. So an owl is very, very, very analytical. They are extremely detailed. They will do the research. So here's something very important for you to know. This is something very important to miss or not to miss. And if you get it wrong between these 2 buying groups, you will cost yourself a sale. The likelihood that you get an owl to sign an authorization day 1 is very, very, very slim. Okay. Even if they want to say yes and they want to sign the paperwork, their body doesn't physically allow them to do it until they've researched you. So am I telling you not to ask for the sale? Absolutely not. You think I'm going to contradict myself that I said a couple hours ago? No, that guy from two hours ago me is just as amazing as current me. But what I'm telling you is you will ask once and then you need to shut up. If you continue to ask these guys, you're going to lose them. But you better be right, because if you're on this guy and you don't continually ask, you won't get it. So you need to know who you're talking to. So if you got an owl, if you're like, oh, this dude for sure is a research and mofo, ask once, but do not get pushy. Okay? So they're going to ask a lot of questions. This is going to be the guy you're going to be sitting down at the kitchen table for an hour and you're like, I don't even want to sell anymore. I just want to go home. I'm going to go talk to your neighbor. I appreciate it. The dinner was amazing. Can I please, I don't know these answers. And in the same hand, if you don't know the answer, do not pretend you do. Literally tell him. One of the first sales I ever had, he asked me the weight of a shingle. And I'm like, and he was looking at different contractors. I was like, I had the most beautiful excuse ever. Said, I'm new and I don't know, but I'll find out. Had I made it up, I'd have lost it. And I did find out, and nobody knew this answer. Like, I was even calling the manufacturer. They're like, why would I know that? I'm like, this dude needs to know what a shingle weighs. I don't have an answer for you. It's the only time I got asked, and that was years ago. I don't know. Like, someone in the last training was like, so what was the answer? Like, I forgot. Like, I know what I need to know. And if it's not something I need to know, it's gone. Like, I got a big head and a very small brain. There's a lot rattling around in there physically, but mentally, no. So I got to get rid of excess waste. So, but anyways, and that homeowner bought from me because I didn't make it up and I went and got the answer. He said, everybody else made something up. I knew your answer was an actual answer. He's like, which also proved to me how wrong their answer was. And I literally told, I'd had such a relationship with them at that point. I said, I'm going to be honest. That's a stupid question. I said, I don't know why that matters. I was really good with him at this point. Like, we were outside. He'd been Googling over my truck and stuff. So I was allowed to do that. I don't recommend that all of you tell your homeowners they're stupid. It takes a special kind of person. It takes a special kind of stupid to call somebody stupid. So they want to know the entire process. So when I gave you guys that big process, like, typically speaking, you just want to let them know what comes next. They want to know what comes next and the next and the next and the next. And like, they want to know what happens like 30 years from now. If it's, year 30 and it's a 35-year warranty and they got 4 years left, like, what kind of, like, they want to know questions that you're not a fan of anymore. That's this guy. So we all understand who this is? Okay. Next, we're going to go to the golden retriever. Yeah, you already know. You already know. So the golden retriever, when you're first starting out, you're like, oh, this is the nicest person ever. And they are. Like, you open their door and be like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? Do you want some milk and cookies? You're like, absolutely, I want some milk and cookies. And an hour later, like, they don't even know my name, who I work for, or why I knocked on their door, but I've seen all their photo albums. I know all their grandkids by name. Like, and you're like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be making money, and I've just lost an hour. So they are very upbeat. They are very friendly, beautiful, wonderful people, but you better get in control real quick. First time I got one of these, I was literally standing in the doorway for 45 minutes. They didn't know my name or what I was doing or why I was there. Like, I was like jumping. I was like trying to, all right, where's that spot to get in here and let them know? God dang it. Like, I literally could, and I had seen photo albums. Like, ask me how I know. Okay. So they love to talk, but they love to talk about themselves. This part here is definitely me. Like, just this part. Like, Marcus likes some Marcus. Okay. So they got an outgoing personality. Okay. They're very, very much so like Steven on the phone here. They just can't wait to talk to you. They find it extremely hard to say no. Now, human nature, generally speaking, you don't like to say no. They literally can't say it. So what's the bonus to that?
Bonus?
Yeah, they can't say no. So what's that? What's the good news to that?
You're not going to get denied immediately. You're going to get
You
more
wanna use that
chance.
They're going to say yes. Means they're going to say yes. You're going to get the sale. What's the downside to that?
You have to hear them talk more.
Nope. Anybody?
Selective hearing.
Zoom? You guys got an answer? If you're going to get a yes, what's the downside to that?
Multiple contractors.
Multiple contractors, they're going to say yes to the other guy too. Typically speaking, the guy that wins with them is the last one they talk to. So that is why it's absolutely crucial that you get control of them. When I tell you have to lead somebody, or you better be leading this old boy. Like, he better have the choke chain on. You better, like, whatever you got to do, you better control this old boy, or it's going to get bad. Okay? Next one. This is one that's going to terrify you and make you cry your first couple weeks. But once you get good and salty with it, as we discover what salty means, you're going to you're going to pray for bulldogs, because bulldogs just want to get going. They come across as very mean, but they're just very to the point. They don't like to waste time. They're big pictures. Okay. They are the total opposite of this. They want to analyze nothing. They want to look up nothing. And I don't want details. Roof, inspection, insurance, payment, go. So the quicker you recognize a bulldog, that is going to change the way you talk to them. Meaning, you need to be able to just, when that door opens, know you got a bulldog. Okay? So as I just told you that conversation, my first door that happened when Josh and I went out a while back, the very next door I knocked, I got my one knock jitters out of the way. Now I'm salty and ready to go. I knock on the door and I can tell this old boy, like he's a big old boy, he's about your size, right? And I can tell I better get to it or I'm gonna get my teeth kicked in. He opens the door, he's like, man, we're checking out roofs, there's damage in the area, getting insurance, buy it. You down?
That's my last sale was. As soon as he opened the door, I could tell. I was like, I literally hit him exactly that.
Got to get to it. If a bulldog sees you reading a script, you are done. You're done. Okay? Get to the point. They are bored by details. They're straight to the point. They don't like to waste time. Here's the part that I really need you to take home. They love to save money, but they will also spend the most. Okay? My biggest deals came from bulldogs. Now, if they believe you, and we've already discussed what believe is, they will spend any amount of money because these guys typically have money. If they don't believe you, they're going to work you over on price so hard it's not even funny.
How do you build a relationship with somebody, or how do you make somebody believe in you if you cannot build that relationship? If
So-
you're a get to the point person.
So look at these last couple things. They think a lot, but they don't talk a lot. And they don't like small talk. If you give them small talk, you're never going to get into their space. They want goodness, and they want to know that they are working with the top dog. Perfect example. This is who I am, especially when it comes to being a buyer. I absolutely loathe a bad salesperson. If you are a salesperson and you are a bad salesperson, you are selling to me, I will run you down. And if I can't run you down, I will literally just leave. If you're a good salesperson, I'll buy just because you freaking earn it. They want to work with the best. So a bulldog, and bulldogs are pretty confident in the sense of they're pretty good in themselves. So I may not know anything about a roof, but I know you know about a roof. I just know that. And if I know that, I'm good. If I don't think you know roofs, get. And it's kind of intangible, but they're generally pretty right with it. If you're good and you know all the stuff, if you know what you're looking at on a roof, they can tell. They can tell. Make sense? I'll follow? Okay. Role playing happens tomorrow. There's a handful of things that I want to, because I'm doing pretty good on time, handful of things I want to approach that is kind of going back to all the things we've talked about. Something you need to realize when you're making that initial interaction at the door is you're getting over their instinctive nature, meaning they're not listening to you. So I'm going to tell you guys a phenomenal story so that you understand what nature it is that I'm talking about. First, I'm going to drink water here real quick. Yeah, see, I'm leaving you hanging. You're like, oh, it's going to be the best story ever. Your stories are so good. Thank you. I appreciate it. So this is back in my younger years. And I was going to bring home some dinner for my wife. My caller was like, hey, babe, I'm going to bring home some Whataburger. Because guess what? I know how to treat a woman, right? So, by the way, anything on the menu you want, because I got it like that. Now you're probably thinking, Marcus, this is not the figure of an individual that eats a Whataburger. At the time, I was young, I could eat what I wanted, and I didn't suffer any consequences. If I drive by Whataburger now, I gain 10 pounds. Anyways, so I go up to the window, or not the window, excuse me, the drive-through spot, and they say whatever they say. Thank you. Would you like? No, I've clearly made plenty of bad decisions in my life. I have your menu memorized. I know where your tabs are coming. I'm going to actually order to where you can even be so efficient, you're going to thank me. So let's just get on with this, shall we? These are what I said in my head. I did not say this out loud, just not that much of a jerk, okay? So I place my order, and then she says, what do they always say? Would you like? No, I would not like, okay? I gave you what I wanted. It's already way more money than what it should be for this trash food. But you know what? I'm taking my lady out because I'm sweet with it like that. And she said, would you like a free apple turnover? I'm like, no, I would not like a free apple turnover. I've already made my order. No, thank you. Can I just pull around to your second window? And it is the second window. Why is it not the first window? I don't know. I don't know why you have a first window. It's always closed. You just got boxes stacked up. Kind of seems like a waste of money to me, but whatever. I'll pull around to the second window, and I already know my total please and thank you. Again, that was inside. I didn't say that outside. So as I'm driving around, my brain went, wait a second. Did she offer me a free? She said free. An apple turnover. I would for sure like a free apple. I would very much so. I'd like, thank you. Yes, please. I would have the free apple turnover, please. So I come rolling up, and I'm like, I was younger. I didn't have the power windows weren't always okay. So I'm doing this. Okay. I had to save money to treat my lady to Whataburger. That means no power windows. Like, did you, just curious, this is what I said. Did you ask me if I wanted a free apple turnover? Oh, and then she lights up. She's like, yes, I got one. And she goes, absolutely, yeah. Do you want one? I was like, listen, clearly not. I was just curious. I think that's bad business. Not what I said. But really what it was is my pride, however, did say, no, I'm okay, thank you. On the inside, I was like, yes, I would like 562 of them. Can I have them all? I'll eat them right now and she'll never even know it. But I didn't, because my pride had to stick to my guns. That is what you're coming across when you're knocking on doors or when you're meeting someone for the first time. They are not actually listening to you. So, what is a scenario that she could have got me to listen to her? Well, it's not the would you like, okay, right there. There may not be a perfect line, but there's the things you can't say, right? When my instinctive brain hears would you like, all I hear is sale. So I immediately like, nope. So I literally didn't even hear it. And then when I did hear it, my pride wouldn't allow me to backpedal, even though I really wanted to. So had she have said, hey, we actually made more apple turnovers than we can sell, so we're giving them away. Do you want one? Probably would have said yes in that scenario, because I would have listened. Like, just like you would listen when they say, actually, we're all out of that. You listen to that one, right? So that's what you are dealing with when you knock on a door or when you meet a lead. When you're doing those first-time things, all they see is you're there trying to sell them something. You just have to find a way to have conversation. That's it. Because once you have the conversation, we are giving free apple turnovers. I'm telling you right now, if every homeowner knew what I know about the process, people would be standing outside the door. Where's a roofer? Where's it? Hey, come here. Come buy me a roof. Like they would. They legitimately, like, you are giving free apple turnovers. You just have to find a way to get them to hear that. So if you're getting those immediate responses, you are getting their crock brain. You haven't actually got them to hear you. So everything you're doing just needs to be having an actual conversation where they are willing to hear you. This makes sense to everybody? Okay. This thing down here messes up. You guys got any questions?
You said no to a free Apple turnover.
Yeah, and I obviously clearly still regret it. Like 15 years later, I'm still not happy about it, okay? Decisions were made. Things were said.
You know what happens when you're a stubborn person, man?
You know what? If I want to talk like this, I'll go home, okay? I come to work so I can be right and so I can be in charge. So neither of those things when I'm home.
And you are.
I am what you call stubborn. Yes, I am a little bit of that. So, but I want to let's take a quick 5. Yeah, we'll take a quick 5, and then we're just going to power through the rest of it for a whole 45 minutes. Sound good to everybody? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, take 5. See y'all in a few.
How long has Whataburger been around?
I don't know. A while.
Okay.
Are you really treating me like it wasn't? Like, how old do you think I am? Daggum, that is hurtful, son. That is just hurtful. That's it. Your commission just changed. I need to. I'm reworking your deal. Did you guys get that for me?
Yeah, they're both right there.
Okay, super.
Make sure we fill that
I
out.
have a truck that's older than my 60-year-old
Oh.
dad.
Do these for me too.
Oh, we thought I told us all we were just taking this home.
You can actually
My bad.
you can actually just sign the very last page and give me the last page.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get that turned in so I can get you guys all this stuff that I'm about to show you and go over. What are you thinking?
May 14th. Dang.
Oh shoot, my little brother's birthday's coming up.
This year is going by really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's good for a child, but I don't know.
Those
She's
are
already
not-
almost freaking 1.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Except this right here.
You're just gonna leave me?
No.
You said I can just rip the bottom and I can keep the top page.
Yeah, I just need the very bottom page. The rest of it's all you.
If her husband said yes, then I hope.
How many guys do y'all have out in Texas door knocking?
What's that?
How many guys do y'all have in Texas door knocking?
2 right now. The in all honesty, I mean, just shooting you straight, the number doesn't really matter because I've seen it where we got 10 in one spot. Generally speaking, there's really only ever 2 or 3 that are really doing work. I mean, you follow the rule, right? So, like for example, the way I talk about a lot of it is, so it's like working out, right? And everybody thinks, they come into it and they want to be like, you're going to be the guy that makes all the money, yada, yada, all this stuff, right? Do you know what percentage of people actually work out more than once a week? %2. And in my opinion, work is no different. I personally think the people that actually legit do like good work, probably 1 to 2%. Now, let's say you ask the other question, what percentage of people are in generally good health? That answer is 12. So I think that maybe 12% of the working world is successful, but like ultra working, the guys who work more than 1 day a week kind of thing. So like if you think about that correlation, it's pretty much the way it goes with everything, in all honesty, in my opinion. Just that, to me, the working out one is a really easy marker, right? So like some people think that they're, like, oh, hey, I'm eating healthy, I'm doing good. It's like, have you ever actually tracked it? So like, as I've gotten older, I've had to be way more diligent about what I eat and how I eat and all that like it. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it came to a point where I was like, okay, apparently I'm going to have to like really start tracking where I'm at. Cause like, it was just not working. And I thought I was one place, but when I actually started writing it down, not even close.
You're still losing.
Not even close. So that's where when we talk about the goal setting, the tracking, the scheduling, that's to actually, how much protein are you eating? What's your actual carb intake? Like that's like how nitty gritty are you really getting to it?
We're in a competition right now.
Of what?
He's sad because he's losing.
No, I'm not.
I've already got 3 roofs.
I got 3 duplexes.
No, you don't.
Thursday. Yes, I do.
I
Okay.
stole his dad though, that's why it's mad.
Yeah,
Because I already texted his dad. No, because the other day
Wow.
he was picking up shingles off the ground. So
Wow.
I already texted him.
Wow. Okay.
Well, Donnie said that he needs roofs on all the duplexes. So,
Duplexes are big money.
and they're big ones too.
Okay.
Over in Grove.
Okay.
3 of them.
He's still gonna win.
Brian, Steven, y'all back? Or you got windows closed? Back and back. Super. Okay. I want to highlight a few things. So some of these slides we've already gone with. You guys can still see my screen? Okay. All right. So we've talked about a lot of things. I want to highlight some of the things that you guys have kind of asked about that were standouts to you, as well as the part where I see most folks go wrong and struggle the most in the beginning days. Okay. Everybody actually probably thinks, and it's true, that door knocking is a part that everybody fails at the quickest. Though it's true, they don't fail at it because they're not good at it. They fail at it because they just flat don't do it. So I'm really not going to spend a lot of time on that, just because to me, the hardest part of that, I have spent a lot of time on. That's just doing the work. Okay. If you go out and do the work, like, and honestly, in so much of that, it just comes from putting in the reps. Like, you're not going to get good at it until you do it. That's why the very first day, which is Thursday, I'm sending you guys out by yourself, giving you a neighborhood, and forcing you to go to knock. Like, I want to see if you do that. And then if so, then we can work on getting you guys field training and stuff like that. But like day one, I want to go see you grind it out. And I want you to get that horrific pain that, well, I don't got a problem with it all, but most people consider it a horrific pain. I want to go see you suffer through it, because if you can, you're good. And if you can't, you'll quit pretty much on Thursday. Generally the way it goes, just being honest. Okay. So until you're the guy who freaking stole my record from me. Well, he tied. He didn't steal. He tied. It's just still, I had a thing for a while and he took it, and I'm a little upset about it. So the pitch is going to be the thing. Okay. Now, mind you, understand you have to have a phenomenal inspection to have a pitch. So that's why I say the number one thing you will do, point blank, period, end of story, is an inspection. Because if you don't do a proper inspection, you can't do the rest of it. Okay. Now, the biggest number one sell of the entire 5-week interaction is going to be this pitch. Okay. And I will print out for you guys, or I will email you guys the pitch book. You will need to print it out on your own, because what I've noticed is if I give you the pitch book, you'll never use it. If I give it to you to print on your own, you'll use it. What's
I was
fun?
just thinking about like you standing at the door and reading off the pitch book, like, you know.
No, yeah. So
you're not going to do that, but that'd be hilarious. Like,
yeah, no. So the pitch book is actually after your inspection. Okay. So when I say the pitch, I'm talking about, if you remember, after the inspection. Okay. So this is where, once again, you're proving that you're the professional. So a couple things that I want to do, and a couple things I want to highlight of the pitch, is number one, how you even get to this point. Okay. Remember how what we do is tell them the next steps. To get to a good pitch, you had to let them know why you're doing what you're doing on the inspection. Okay. So if you guys remember when we talked about yesterday, before you do the inspection, if you don't tell them all the things you're going to be doing, it's creepy and invasive, right? So hopefully you told them what you were doing. Then you go and you do a good story. Then when it comes to give the pitch, what's step number one to setting up a good pitch? Like, what's the first thing you need to do? You come down off the roof. What do you need to do?
I would be like, hey, let's go over these photographs that I took so I can show you what's going on and what I found, and be honest.
What do you got? Knowing what they needed is good. Okay. So you're there. What is something you want to do? Do you want to do this at the doorway? Do you want to do it at the kitchen table? There we go. So the first thing you do when you come down with the pitch, okay, and this is what we're gonna be role playing tomorrow. You got your tablet out and you're like, hey, so I got all my inspections, or I got my inspection. I want to go over these photos with you. Where's a good place we can sit down at? Okay. If they go to the kitchen table, great. If they go to the table on their front porch, like during the COVID time, I never saw the inside of somebody's house hardly. Like, that was very rare. Okay. I've had, during COVID time, I had trash can pitches. If they had like real nice trash cans, I'm sitting on top of the trash can. I've had tailgate closes. Basically, you need to take them somewhere other than the front door. What I'll see guys do on the very first day is they'll knock on the door and be like, all right, let's go over this. And they're just standing at a door. Like, that's not going to work. Take them down, preferably sitting. Like when they take me to sit down on a couch, I hate sitting down on the couch because then I'm like doing this weird turn thing. So kitchen table is most preferred, but basically you just need to be sitting down somewhere. Okay. And all you have to do is explain to them what you have done. And then you need to lead them to the authorization. Very simple. So after you've explained everything that you've done, what it needs to look like. You go over it all and you're like, does that make sense? After you've explained their inspection. They say yes. Then you're going to start telling them a little bit about us. Okay? And we're telling them a bit about us. This is when I have the actual pitch book printed out for you guys. And let me pull this up so I can show you here. Come on, Dad, blurring it. That's not it. Probably easier if you see it rather than me just talking about it. There we go. Okay. So your pitch book is going to look something like this. Okay. You're going to have a folder. And again, I'm going to send all this to you. You're going to have a folder, and it's just kind of like the nice little highlights about us. And remember, when you're doing the pitch book, this means you just went over all the inspections, and basically they've acknowledged the issues on their roof. Okay. So now this is the point where you're telling them, hey, a little bit about me and us, right? So you need to have a nice folder with all this put together. And again, I used to put this together for people, and then I found out they never used it. Versus if I send it to you and you go print it out on your own, you're going to use it. Okay. So this is your cover page. And this is your little hail damage. Now, mind you, this pitch book is going to have quite a few things in it. If you have the owl, you're going to go over every single solitary page with an owl. Like, you better. If you shortcut the owl, you lose the owl. If you go every single page with the bulldog, he's kicking you out the house. He's biting you. You're the mailman. He don't like you. All right? So then, and this is actually an old one, the updated versions show 14 plus years, right? This is a big slide to go over. Your owls love this slide, okay? Because as we know, generally speaking, how long does a roofing company last? In Oklahoma, yeah. 3 years is a nationwide average, right? So basically, once you make it past 5 years, you're good. We've clearly made it past 5 years, okay? It's real big to an owl. That may be a quick bullet point to hit up to a golden retriever and or a bulldog. This one right here is big for all of them. You bring up this, you bring up our Google reviews, okay? And here's the deal. I tell people, I don't care if you're Angie's List, a Better Business Bureau, whatever form of review you trust, look us up, you'll find us. Encourage them to do so. And Al, he's for sure doing that. When you show this page to a bulldog, he's just going to see this and go, cool, I trust you. He's not going to do it. Okay. And then you're going to go over actually our, in this case it was Owens Corning, but now it's GAF. You'll have a GAF brochure with you, which I'm going to be giving you guys, where you're going to go over it with them. Okay. And that's where you're going to tell them a little bit about the shingle and a little bit about the product. Then you got your certifications, you got your insurance, you got all the other basic stuff. So, but you need to have some kind of book to show them and go over. Does that make sense to everybody?
Will they be able to all fit in like a deal like that type deal?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I'll show you guys my pitch book tomorrow when we actually start doing the role playing. I just want you guys to kind of have a little bit of preemptive idea of what's coming. Okay. But then after that, you explain that to them. You explain our build process and what we do. Then you're going to turn over and you're going to get them to go through and work the authorization right then and there. Right? You want to get them moving on it. It's time to sign the paperwork. Do not be like, here's what I want you to do, and then just call me with the claim number. Nope. You're going to go, so what we're going to do is call the insurance company and make a claim. Sound good? Good. And you call from your phone on speaker. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know that two of you had scheduling kind of questions or takeaways. Gunnar, I'll go with you first. Is there anything on the scheduling that you have a specific question on, or that you'd like me to talk more about?
If you can just
Go back to it. Yep, I'm pulling it up now. And basically what you're seeing me doing, guys, is tomorrow is where we're going to put in a lot of work and actually forcing you guys to do these things. And between all of us and how many guys are here, we're going to run out of time real quick. So I'm basically doing a recap of today versus waiting till tomorrow. Okay. So anything in particular on here that you were curious about? Is it like how to actually do it, what it looks like? What do you got?
I get this was like your roofing schedule, but
Mhm.
when you were in other industries, what,
Mhm.
like what did your schedules look like as a sales?
So before this, I did. So like the last thing I did, I was a manager of a tire and service center for 12 years. So it was the home stuff was real similar, except for the fact of I was at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get home till 7. So there was significantly less personal time, and I also that was what time I got to work and left work Monday through Saturday, and Sunday was the only day I had off. So there was a lot less. When I told you my personal life was totally jacked, and I didn't realize it, like that's why. So like when we went to St. Louis this last weekend to for my friend's retirement party from the military, like I would have never been able to do that previously. So
This is a question pertaining to the previous job that you worked.
Mhm.
What was the nicest, fanciest car that came into your service center?
that's,
Sports car.
I was going to say, if you're talking like my favorite sports car, that's different than the nicest car.
Like the car that pulls in, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they came here." Not that that's
The nicest car doesn't count for my favorite because I didn't get to drive the nicest car, but one of my customers had a twin turbo Lamborghini, a twin turbo GTR. I got to go in rides on them, and they were
insane.
ridiculously fast.
Was it like UGR?
But I had two different ones where they were hopped up, and they specifically told me the issue happens when it gets driven, so I really need to drive it.
Gotcha.
So I did. One was a blown Corvette, and the other was a blown GTO.
Nice.
So those were my favorites,
Mm.
but they weren't necessarily the nicest per se. It was just because I got to like
That's cool.
do things. So, but kind of back on point of that. So my personal stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to be really specific about this. I don't know if you could go over real quick, like when you're up looking at issues with the roof, what are some ones that like insurance is 100% going to cover all the time?
For sure. Okay. Yeah, we'll hammer that in just 1 second. I'll get that one next. So, but as far as the scheduling goes, it's a matter of like what's important to you. So here's the thing that I would say when it comes to scheduling, but then also goal setting in general. Okay. So if right now, so as you can tell, like I have a wake up routine, I get in the word for an hour, I work out, like I have all these things, like I mean, I do a lot. If you're like not on board of doing any of that right now, you need to start small. So like if you want to get into exercise and waking up earlier and all that stuff, and you're not doing either one of those right now, start with one. Like start with waking up earlier and then move on from there. Like if you don't work out at all and you want to work out, start with working out, twice a week, or like start small because you want to be able to achieve it. Right. So like some people say, like, if you're just starting to get more routine, you want to start doing things, Start with just making your bed. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't make my bed. I'm not gonna try to sit here and tell you I do that. So, but where people will go wrong is they'll go, cool, I want to do all these life-changing things, and they'll just create this complete and total separate life. And be like, all right, I'm just gonna all of a sudden today be this person. It's more than likely not gonna happen. You got to start small. So when I first started getting into the Word, trust me, I was not in it for an hour a day, like I am now. So that is absolutely not where I started out. I read now, on average, depending on the books I'm grabbing, I read about 30 to 35 books a year. Definitely not where I started out at, right? I started out with like 2 books a year. So, and that was huge. So just start somewhere, okay? Let me share some specific roofs with you since you asked. So when you talk about, so Brian, I want to share some roofs that you're going to see. They're going to be similar to what you're going to see. You're going to have not a lot of hail damage out there. And I think I showed everybody some hail damage that was already on the slides. So I want to go over a roof, and this is one I showed you yesterday, but I'll go over it specifically. And this is one that I just have memorized, so it does me good to use this one. This one has a little bit of everything. It's got some wind damage. It's got some hail damage. It's got all the things. So I'm going to go here. All right, you can see me on my screen, right? You got me, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so as you can see right here, this is me marking where you got wind damage, where it just pulled certain sections away from the fasteners, okay? So what that looks like in real life as far as the shingles themselves, see how it's pulled out this fastener right here? That was a nail. And basically the shingle got ripped from the nail. And it did that a couple shingles up. See, here's one shingle here, did that too. Then there's another one here, and then there's this one here. So do you see how it tore all 3 of those? That's something that you're going to see. And then another something that you're going to see wind damage wise.
But will insurance replace the whole roof for that one?
Yeah, I'll get there on that.
Okay.
So this right here, this is also wind damage. This is, and this, when you see this kind of wind damage, this immediately tells you that you have another problem. What is that problem telling you? Brittle. Fantastic. And if you have this, then yes, you can get insurance to replace it. Okay? So when you were talking about a minute ago, if the only wind damage you had was this here, that's not necessarily a brittle problem. Okay? It could be, but this one isn't necessarily a brittle problem. So on a 3-tab roof, and if you remember right, this is a 3-tab. On a 3-tab roof, the only way you're going to get the battle an insurance company and win is if it's brittle. Okay? If it's discontinued, it don't matter. If it's brittle, you're golden. Brittle is always your number one battle, whether it's 3-tab, architectural, doesn't matter. Brittle is your number one battle. Okay? And what that's considered like, so you know how on cars, if a car's totaled, like it's got way too many miles, it's too old, like the point of which the car gets totaled becomes less and less and less and less. Same thing on a roof. Like this is basically a super old roof, like it's not really repairable. That's kind of what you're getting to. And discontinued, they don't care. Not on a 3-tab situation. Discontinued matters for architectural, but discontinued does not matter for 3-tab. The only thing that matters for 3-tab is brittle. Fantastic. So again, that is a tear in the shingle. And also you can kind of notice in this one right here, it's creased. A creased shingle is basically just like this and only hasn't got ripped off yet. So a creased shingle is just as big of a problem as a missing shingle. It's still wind damage. Here's your hail hit on a ridge. And like we talked about yesterday, if you got hail hit on a ridge, that is money in the bank. That is money in the bank. And here's another spot where it tore out. So it even tore out 3 tabs, right? But still brittle. And what's that?
It's a lot shinier too.
Yep. And what you're noticing, if you notice on the front side, all of his shingles were brittle. On the back side, they were not. You're always going to have one side of the roof, typically speaking, that is in significantly worse shape than the other, because that's the side that hits the sun. So this is his southern slope. Your southern slope causes granule loss faster. Granule loss means brittle, right? So the southern slope, no matter where you're at, more often than not, unless that's a super shaded area, the southern slope is probably going to be your worst slope always. Northern slope will always probably be your best slope. Literally, it's a matter of where the sun hits. It's literally that simple. Okay? So, but because on the front slope that's brittle, I had to tear over the ridge, I was able to get the entire roof approved. So this is one that started out as a repair that I turned into a full approval. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Steven, go for it. What do you got?
This is kind of odd question, but if let's say for instance a house with solar had a really crummy roof under it, is that like a no-go or?
Yeah, so you're gonna see that, and just like there's bad fish in every industry, right? So a solar company should not put on solar panels on a bad roof. They should not. Not saying they don't, but they should not. So it gets real hard to do that, because if they bought a solar system, they probably actually really like their solar guy, right? And they're really going to trust their solar guy. And they had a long relationship with the solar guys, whereas you're the new guy. So you have to walk that line extremely fine. Like, hey, so I know the solar guy that you know better than me that put on your system that you really liked, and now I'm coming in, the roof guy, to tell you the roof's bad. Your immediate thought is probably, oh, well, you're just trying to sell me a roof, you liar. You actually kind of shouldn't have had solar put on this roof. So you gotta handle that real delicately. And it just needs to be real obvious. Yeah, I wish I could just tell you a super good way to go at that, but that's where if you're taking a proper inspection and you know what you're talking about and you're able to tell a good story on your inspection, then you're okay. But if you think you're just going to show them a single picture, not really educate them at all, and be like, your solar guy lied to you, like, and that's another thing. You don't ever want to talk bad about somebody. So something that I'll use when I've seen those scenarios, I'm like, hey, how long ago did you get your solar done? And if he's like 6 months ago, I'm like, crap. But if he's like, I got my solar done 2 years ago, but well, this is just one of those things. Your roof may have looked amazing at that point. Like, I mean, I'm lying, but at least I'm not trying to talk bad about somebody. But if they're like, yeah, I just had it installed last month, good luck. That's going to be tough.
Is solar, is that like more north, or is that around this way some too?
What do you
I've
mean?
never seen it. Like solar.
Yeah, so your area, you're not going to see much of it. So Utah, Colorado, solar is like everything. There's a lot of solar in Dallas. As far as our Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas location, rarely do we see it. Rarely do we see it, especially now with interest rates being what they are and all that stuff. So like Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas, like literally just got the rebates started like a year and a half ago or whatever. So versus they've had some pretty killer rebates in Utah and Colorado for a while, or the Dallas area. So stuff like that's always going to pop up to your big markets before it pops up to ours. Just one of those things. What else we got? Gunner, did I get to any of your scheduling questions really, or no? Kind of, sort of. I didn't.
I don't think I really had a question. I just
Okay.
want to see it again.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Okay. So just so you guys all know, all my slides and everything we've gone through, I'm going to give all of you guys access to those. So you won't be able to change them or do anything with them, but you will be able to see them. So even though I say that, some guys say they want to use them and never use them again. I encourage you to use them. So that is why I send them to you. Did everybody get to turn on and activate their Mighty app? Okay.
That's what that right there.
Yep. I'm going to activate all you guys to the road to six figures because I don't think any of you are. Go ahead.